Chapter 27 The Laws of Distance. Saint-Domingue, 1790. "Hold tight," Adolphe called. Usually, when he worked on the docks, they loaded barrels of sugar or coffee for export. This morning, however, was different. Today, he and Noël were loading 16 cannons en route to France. They were heavier than he anticipated. His muscles rippled as he held tightly to the taut rope. Another pull. A sharp sting cut through his palms as the rope slid a few inches through the sweat of his hands. "Steady," Noël called from behind him. "I got it," Adolphe shot back as he twisted the rope around his forearm for extra support and tightened his grip. "Heave!" With one final, staggering pull, the last cannon crested the ship's railing. The men aboard grabbed it, and Adolphe and Noël slowly loosened it down to the deck. "The war in France must be getting really intense if they need this much firepower," Noël said. "Did the rope burn you as badly as it did me?" Adolphe rubbed his blistered hands. "Not a burn, but it ripped one of my calluses off." "Ouch! That has to sting." Adolphe blew softly on his open wound. They groaned to themselves as they recovered, shaking out their tired arms. Adolphe let out a yawn. "Tired?" Noël asked. "Always," Adolphe chuckled. "I haven't had a day off in months, but that's my own fault, I suppose. Plus, I've been having these vivid dreams. I don't know. Makes it hard to sleep. It doesn't matter," he sighed. "Are you excited for the election? You get to vote for the first time." Noël let out a pessimistic laugh. "I want to be, but I'm not naive. I know that legally I have the right now, but the Grand Blanc have certainly implied that they are going to make our votes difficult to cast." "But you are a free man, and the National Assembly," Adolphe began. "Have you not figured this out yet, Adolphe? There is an ocean between here and the Assembly. There is very little here that can force the whites to abide by the law if they don't want to. And they have made it extremely clear that they don't want our voices to be heard in the local government." "But you are going to try, though, right?" "Of course I'll try to vote," Noël affirmed. "I don't want Rouvray anywhere near a governing body. But he seems to have a lot of support among the planters." "I'm so fucking jealous of you," Adolphe muttered. "These Sundays, working here for wages, are the closest I get to being free. Just leaving Cormier for a few hours makes me feel like a new man." "Are you getting any closer to buying your freedom?" Noël asked optimistically. "Hardly. Duclos confiscates 2/3 of what I earn. That was his price for my papers to leave the plantation on Sundays." Adolphe spat into the bay. "These wages are absolute shit, even before he takes his cut. But I'll be damned if I don't try. I need to be free again." "Again? You didn't know?" Adolphe replied. "I was born free. My whole family was." "Are you serious? I would never have guessed." Adolphe raised an eyebrow. "I'm not sure how to respond to that. I feel like I should be offended," he chuckled slightly. "I'm sorry. I didn't mean it like that. How did you—" "My father sold me." "I'm so sorry. I'd be shocked, except the viciousness of the Grand Blanc hardly astonishes me anymore. Your mother allowed him to do that. It's against the Code Noir." "She did nothing to stop it," Adolphe growled. "That is heartless. I'm sorry, my friend. I know I can never understand, but our family had a bit of that, too. My older half-sister and my mother were sold away like that, kind of. But then they met my father, and everything changed. Well, I'm glad your family got a happy ending. Mine never gave a damn. I've always figured it was because I didn't read very well. At least, not to my mother's standard. My other siblings were much better at it." "Are they in Cap Français?" Noël asked. "No, Jérémy. I think it's south? Haven't seen them since I was 9. "Damn," Noël mumbled. Can we change the topic? I'd rather talk politics. Makes me feel like I have a brain. Noel nodded. Oh, actually, this might interest you. You know Vincent Auger, the slave-owning mulatto who bought lands over by Dondon? Adolphe asked. Yes, he's been over in France. Just returned this week. I saw him get off the boat in the middle of the night. It was very secretive. He is one of the men who helped secure the vote for us. In the middle of the night? What is he hiding? Adolphe asked. Himself. He has stupendously angered the Grand Blanc. When he spoke to the assembly, he showed Paris who they truly were. He thrust serious legal pressure on them across the Atlantic. He can bark at the assembly all he wants, Adolphe said. But like you said, there's no buffer quite like an ocean. No one here feels genuinely threatened. Besides, France is a mess on its own right now. He nodded toward the cannons they had just loaded. Maybe, but I wouldn't discount Auger, Noel said resolutely. You'll have to make a much better argument. As far as I'm concerned, he's a slave owner just as bad as the whites. Worse, even, because he should know better. Adolphe stretched out a kink in his back. Look, he's not perfect, Noel admitted. But anyone who scares the Grand Blanc that much has to be worth something. I'm not sure what. I'm afraid to be too hopeful. But I have a hunch that his influence could be really, really important. You can follow him if you want. You're free like him. But to get my attention, the man needs to give a damn about my life. No offense. Well, then join him, Noel said optimistically. What? Adolphe froze mid-step. If Auger is missing your voice, go lend yours to his cause. Run away. Find Auger. Find Boukman. Adolphe's jaw nearly dropped at the proposition. A wave of nausea washed over him. Sweat beaded at his brow as the ground beneath him seemed to shift. Adolphe? Noel stepped closer, concern creeping into his voice. Are you all right? Adolphe shoved him back and bent forward, bracing himself on his knees. You don't run from Henri Duclos, he said through clenched teeth. No one does. Just trust me. Noel raised his hands defensively. Didn't mean to strike a nerve. I get that you're scared, but come on. You're a slave who can read. Doesn't that make you the perfect person to speak up? To lead something of your own? You have no idea what you're talking about, Adolphe spat. Yes, I can read. Sort of, but I don't. Not anymore. When I see text, it is like the words try to swallow me whole. I go to a very dark place. Oftentimes, the letters blend together and my mind goes blank. The writing might as well be Greek. He paused as a gentle breeze brushed his face, carrying with it the briny scent of the sea. The waves murmured in the distance in a low, steady hum. He drew in a deep breath, and for a fleeting moment, he wondered if that same wind had once touched the shores of his people, carrying their voices across the ocean to Saint-Domingue. But then other times I feel like the words are already in my blood, like I have some connection to the language and the stories, maybe through the ancestors, or maybe I am the ancestor. I don't know. Noel peered at Adolphe as though his friend was a riddle in living flesh. Adolphe caught his off-putting stare and changed his tone sharply. But if you expect me to read something for you or anyone, I can guarantee you I'll be a disappointment. I'm sure you're right, Noel said, but there was something hidden in the tone of his voice. Wow, you do not sugarcoat, Adolphe retorted sarcastically. No, not like that. I'm sorry. Noel appeared genuinely embarrassed. I'm really getting my meanings muddled today. I think you are right about your connection to the ancestors. You've always struck me as a soul who has a whole unlived life connected to you. Sometimes, It feels like you are here, but so is an entirely different story that we can't see. Maybe it's your visions, but there is something about you, Adolphe. What the hell does that even mean? Adolphe scoffed. Noel looked him in the eyes. Are you Catholic, like the rest of them? What kind of question is that? Isn't everyone a Catholic? Adolphe was getting irritated. Not everyone, Noel replied quietly. What other churches are there? Adolphe asked. The religions of our people, Noel replied. Have you ever stopped to think about it, really? How the Bible preaches obedience to the whites? Are you actually implying that the church is the reason behind all our problems? Adolphe was shocked at the blatant blasphemy. Not necessarily, Noel interjected. The white man's church could be, though. Adolphe was taken aback. I don't know about that. It's really not that complicated. What is the first thing they do when they kidnap our brethren? Adolphe looked at him flatly. Force us to bend to their religion. Why would they do that? It certainly isn't because of their deep and abiding love for our souls. Adolphe stared at him skeptically, but remained silent. I'd like to introduce you to someone, Noel continued. A voodoo mambo. A what? Adolphe asked. A priestess of the African religions, he replied. My half-sister, Cécile Fatiman. I can hardly go around Cap Français meeting women, Adolphe retorted. Next week, then, Noel replied. Skip the white church on Sunday before work. Come early to the docks. I'll make sure she is waiting for you. Why should I? Adolphe pressed. Because you'll be here anyways, and because it's time that you decolonize your mind from the white man's indoctrination. Why would she even want to meet me? I'm just an angry slave who is too goddamn scared to run away from my tormentor, Adolphe huffed. You said you've been having those dreams, right? So real, you can taste the air off the sea and smell the fire in the trees. Adolphe looked at him warily. Yes? Since you started at the docks, I have them too. I can't explain it. I never used to dream like that. So I asked Cécile what she thought it meant. Noel paused. I fear I have been misrepresenting things. She is the one who wants to meet you. She thinks your dreams mean something, that our ancestors might be speaking through you. You sound like a madman. Noel shrugged. What do you say? Why do I have the feeling you are about to get me into a lot of trouble? Adolphe murmured. I may, but I don't think you will regret it. Look, I need to get back. Wages end when the cargo is loaded, and if I'm not back soon, there won't be any food left. I'm famished after lifting those hunks of metal. Next week, then, Noel winked. I'll think about it. Adolphe turned and began the long walk back to the plantation, but Noel's words kept playing over in his mind. Later that night, as he sat in his quarters, he examined the crucifix that hung above his doorframe, as it did in every slave quarters. There was a knock at the door, and Jean-Jacques walked in without waiting for admittance. You look like shit, Jean-Jacques said from the doorway. I've been hauling fucking cannons all day. I'm tired. Thrilling, Jean-Jacques said sarcastically. I just came to— Where's Nazareth? Adolphe interrupted. What? Jean-Jacques was taken aback. I don't know. Is it near Paris? God, Adolphe, why the hell would I know? People that look like us come from Africa, right? And based on that pathetic-looking man hanging on the cross, Jesus looks like the whites. Did you just call Jesus pathetic? Jean-Jacques smirked. I need to know where Nazareth is. I mean, it's far away, not on Saint-Domingue. Father Sabalis said that Jesus' family was poor. Do poor white people live in France? I've always assumed it was only rich people there. But the more I think about it, something just doesn't feel right. I have no idea how to read a map, Adolphe, nor would I even know where to find one. Me either, Adolphe replied thoughtfully. I don't know. I'm starting to think the white church is lying to us. I'm too tired for this sort of debate, Adolphe. Can't you just relax for a moment? Do you truly believe, deep in your heart, that this white man on the cross has all the answers? Like, if God was so good, why would he want anyone in slavery? This doesn't add up. Why are we slated to suffer at Duclos' hand, but he is the one destined for salvation? Nah, Jean-Jacques retorted. Duclos is going to hell for sure. Maybe, but what if none of this is real? What if the truth is far older, deeper, inside of us, but forced out by all of them? Adolphe, you are asking way too many questions. I prefer when you just get pissed and punch a tree stump or something. Getting angry is easier, but he paused. Do you know anything about voodoo? We are still doing this? Jean-Jacques was exasperated. Adolphe nodded. Jean-Jacques sighed. Voodoo. Bits and pieces, I guess, not much. Some of the people brought straight from Africa practice it in secret. I think I might have seen it before, but their French is so hard to understand. I don't know what they are doing. Adolphe was lost in thought. Look, can we just give it a rest for now? I came here because Victoria had a headache, so she asked me to check on your leg after Duclos' stupid nephew lashed it yesterday. Oh, yes, it's fine. Scabbed right over. But I'll grab some of her salve tomorrow for my hands. Rope burn? Worse. Take a look. Adolphe showed Jean-Jacques his ripped calluses. Oh, that's rough. Your skin's flapping around like a bird, Jean-Jacques said. I know, right? It's going to be wickedly painful tomorrow in the fields. Well, I'll let you get some sleep. Tomorrow's another terrible day. Might as well be rested for it. Jean-Jacques headed for the door. Actually, I have this feeling, something in the wind. I think things may be changing. Oh, do you now? Jean-Jacques almost laughed. You've never been one for optimism. I'm not sure it's optimism, necessarily. A storm is coming, Adolphe said ominously. If only. A day off is so needed right now. The whites hate standing in the rain. This better be one of your premonitions, Jean-Jacques smirked. Good night, Jean-Jacques. Adolphe plopped onto his straw mat and pulled the coarse blanket over himself. His eyes were heavy, much heavier than usual. Within moments, he was asleep. But his respite was far from restful. His dream was indistinguishable from reality. There were flames and the smell of smoke and burning flesh. He sensed the heat as thousands of plantations erupted in a fit of violence. Blood flowed in the rivers and through the street. A huge black hog ran through a forest, squealing. There were gunshots and cannons. 2 children were screaming as their hands pressed against a window. Then suddenly, despite all the heat, his body began to freeze. He started to shake and awoke with a start. He was lying on the floor, having rolled off his straw mat. A cold sweat had soaked through his chemise. Despite sleeping, he felt infinitely more exhausted than he did when he laid down. He pulled himself upright, removed his soaking clothes, and wrapped himself back under his blanket. As his body resettled into rest, the patter of rain began on the stoop outside.